the conservation groups, NWTF, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. Talk a little bit about that and how important it is for you to have partnered with and to be supporting and to be a benefactor to organizations like that.
You remember when we talked earlier, Steve, about the internet?
Yeah.
And how would you know what it was going to be? The internet is new. Relatively speaking, it's just a little speck in the whole big picture history of stuff, and we don't have any idea what 20 years from now will bring. If you think about the key conservation groups, we got Ducks Unlimited in 35 or 36, and things were really quiet in the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s. All of a sudden in the 70s now, we begin to wake up a little bit more and begin to get organized. So from about that time, you get National Wild Turkey, you get Rocky Mountain Elk, you get Wild Sheep Foundation, and 3 or 4 others that are there. And those things kind of are maturing now and kind of getting their legs and figuring out who they are. And it takes 20 or 30 years for that to happen. So Wild Turkey set out to restore wild turkeys. Well, guess what? We don't need to do any more of that. They have claimed their mission complete. We are not restoring any more wild turkeys. Now what does Wild Turkey Federation do? Well, interesting. They keenly love kids. We can help you expand, because they had a pretty good youth program already, expand that youth program with some of family money.
Right.
So the family then has put money into the National Wild Turkey Federation with the idea that they will expand their youth shooting operations. Done the same thing with elk, the same thing with mule deer, wild sheep, Dallas Safari Club, because all these volunteers out there want the same thing that we do. They want to teach kids, they want to affect the future. And so it's an easy thing for us because they are so very, very strong in what they do. They're very, very community oriented, so they're right in the communities, and they want to change the future by educating their kids on safe handling and safe use of firearms, which is exactly what the family wants.
At the NRA this summer, there was you announced a program, your 12-12-12 program. Can you share with me how Midway USA has become involved with that, and other companies that you know that have become involved with 12-12-12?
My vision for 12-12-12 is it kind of is a checkoff, if you would, from the various manufacturers in the industry to add some money to their price that is paid for by the customers, and that money then is sent directly to NRA, ILA, and to go into a permanent endowment. So 12-12-12 was just kind of, it's the elections 12-12-12. We're thinking about that. So that's the basis of the name, Project 12-12-12. Pretty easy to say. It's like Herman Cain's 999. Okay, he copied that after hours, I'm sure. The family agreed that for every dollar that was put into 12-12-12 by our customers, that we would match it. Okay, that has not been hugely successful, but we are indeed doing that. But mostly we were trying to provide some leadership to the industry, because what we asked for is the manufacturers to add $1 to every gun that they sold. Whatever price list this gun is going to be, $317, sell it for $318 into distribution. Now you're literally adding a checkoff amount of $1 to every gun. And we asked the ammunition companies and the bullet companies to add $0.25 a box. Why would you do this and send all this money in here? It's just an industry checkoff. It's supported by customers like you and I. When we buy a box of ammunition, we pay an extra $0.25 for it. Okay? Do we care? Well, we care about where the money goes and how we build this national endowment to protect the Second Amendment. So I think the greatest success so far, Mike Pfeiffer saw me on the streets there that next day, and he said, Larry, I think we can do something on that. And you know about the Ruger $1 million plan. Well, that's based on that speech that I made about Project 12-12-12. So what Midway, as a little company in Columbia, Missouri, is doing isn't particularly significant, but the leadership that we're providing to the industry to think, you know what, that's a pretty good idea, and we can do that, and it'll be good for the industry, and our customers will love us for it. Mike Pfeiffer, pretty smart guy, he figured that out. What else will happen for the 2012 year, because those prices are all being set right now? I don't know. Wouldn't it be phenomenal if every gun company added $1 and every bullet and ammunition company added $0.25, and all that money flowed into the National Endowment for the Protection of the Second Amendment? Wouldn't that be great?
That's spectacular. Your focus on giving back to the industry, your focus on running a successful enterprise here, your focus on customer value is something I wanted to make sure came across today, and you got to share with more of the people that are going to see this. So I know you always thank your customers for your business. I want to say thanks for your time. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Steve, great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.